On this episode of the Hanford Insider, we celebrate the opening of the 5th annual Winter Wonderland and the return of the Hanford Christmas Parade. Rob will give you a quick review of the community calendar, and I'll be back later with your sports report. This is the Hanford Insider for Monday, November 17th.
Hey, Hanford. Welcome to the Hanford Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Bentley. This is your go-to place for good vibes, great stories, and all of the local buzz. Every episode, we spotlight the events, people, and moments that make our community one of a kind. So buckle up, smile big, and let's dive into what's happening right here in your hometown. In community news this week, the Hanford City Council will meet Tuesday, November 18th in the council chambers located inside the Hanford Civic Auditorium. At the afternoon study session beginning at 4 p.m., they'll receive an update on the East Lacey Improvement Project. And then at the general session at 7, they'll start off by recognizing Hanford Police Department explorers on their recent accomplishments, and then they'll take a moment to recognize the volunteers from the Cinderella Project. In general business, they'll look at additional appropriations for the Youth Athletic Complex Concession Stand Project, as well as have a discussion and decision on the status of the contract with the current city attorney. If you can't attend the meeting, you can always watch online at livestream.hanford.city. The Washington Elementary School community sure got a scare last week. A portion of the amphitheater ceiling collapsed and fell on a student. The school has closed the campus until at least December 1st, so that the campus-wide inspections can be made, as well as repairs to the affected areas. The students are at home on distance learning until then. The new downtown tap room on 6th Street and the old artworks announced on social media this week that they have finally secured all of their construction permits and will begin remodeling the building this week. The goal is to be open in a few months. Now let's take a look at this week's community calendar. The King's Players are presenting Murder by the Book at the Temple Theater in Hanford each weekend in November. Visit kingsplayers.org to get more information and purchase tickets. Main Street Hanford is hosting several events over the next few weeks, including the annual Downtown Christmas Tree Walk and the Wine and Chocolate Tasting event on December 5th. Visit mainstreethanford.com for all of the details. During the Wine and Chocolate event, the Griswold LaSalle Community Foundation will be unveiling their annual Christmas window display at 6:30 p.m. on the southeast corner of Doughty Street and 7th Street. On the December 1st episode, I'll have a chance to talk with them about this year's display. The Carnegie Museum of Kings County's exhibition, A History of Kings County Agriculture, is open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. through December 14th. Operation Christmas Blessing is already in the works. For more information, you can contact Kara Fleming at 559-392-2295. On Saturday, November 22nd, the Hanford Fox Theater will be showing The Wizard of Oz at 7 p.m. Visit foxhanford.com for information and tickets. Finally, the annual Home Christmas Light Decorating Contest, Kings County Let It Glow, will be kicking off soon. Visit kingscountyletitglow.com to see how you can nominate a home or just get a list of the decorated homes in our area. If you have an event coming up and you'd like some help getting the word out, let's work together. Send your information to hanfordinsider@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get a complete calendar of events. It's the most comprehensive community calendar available. Well, we are here at the end of November, and that means one thing in Hanford, actually two things. It means the Hanford Winter Wonderland is right around the corner and the Hanford Christmas Parade. And I have on the show with us today Mr. Brad Albert. He was on the show a few weeks ago to highlight some of the new changes for the Hanford Christmas Parade. But today we're going to focus mainly on the Hanford Winter Wonderland, which opens this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Hanford Civic Auditorium. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Thanks, Rob. Can you believe it's end of November already?
You know, the crazy thing is this is actually the third time on the podcast in 3 years, over the 3 years that we've been doing this, talking about all the wonderful things that are happening at Winter Wonderland, and it just gets better and better. And it's actually a business model, building on the success from previous years and adding things. So speaking of adding things, let's highlight some of the big changes this year for Winter Wonderland and some of the things that you've added.
Yeah, so the first part, we've changed the layout of the park just a little bit. We've moved our games in Civic Park just off of Doughty Street out of the Courthouse Square area. We've extended our vendor village on the Irwin side a bit. A really new amenity will be a viewing deck that will be on just east of the ice rink with two large fire pits, and folks will be able to sit out on that deck and maybe have some s'mores and be able to view from a little bit of an elevated level.
And I understand besides for the vendor village and the seating area, we're also moving the carnival over to the east side. That was previously located there in front of the courthouse, but you decided to move the games this year.
We did. The games will expand, and we'll also may have a few small rides located in that area. So we give them kind of a dedicated area to be able to do that. Our games have been really the most popular vendor in our first 4 years. We're on year 5.
Yeah, there were a lot of skeptical people about bringing in the carnival games, but they certainly are entertaining. Lots of food booths are returning too, I see.
We have many of our local food vendors returning. Every single one from last year, with the exception of one, wanted to return. So we have a few new folks. We'll be selling pizza, a lot of great vendors. So if people just come and they're hungry, we'll be able to accommodate that.
So the website, HanfordWinterWonderland.com, is just packed with all kinds of information. Let's go over some of that. Let's talk about the sessions and how people can get tickets and what they get for their ticket.
Well, there's 2 ways to get a ticket for ice skating. One is to go onto that website. You can reserve your session time and date based on your schedule. And fairly simple. We kept our adult pricing the same. We've actually lowered our youth from age 4 to 17 to $10 every day, which is something new, and we're really excited to get the young people here. You can also walk up and buy tickets. That is on some of our busier nights. We do sell out. When we hit about 125, it gets a little bit crowded, but generally weekdays, fairly easy to walk up. Weekends, a little harder. So if you're planning on coming on the weekends, you may want to go online.
And I know that as the season goes on, because you're open through the beginning of January, you have a lot of special events. And I know that events are added as you go on. But 3 events that you have on the calendar, we see the Princess Breakfast and Skate, which is Saturday, December 13th, followed by the Superhero Breakfast the Sunday after that. And then later on in the season, you have Santa's coming back for some story time on Tuesday, December 23rd. Those special events actually make this event even more special, doesn't it?
Yeah, there are events within the event, and each of those draws a little bit different audience, and we love that. We also have planned coming up Faith Night, working with the local pastors. We generally also do a base night with NAS Lemoore, where the first 100 folks from the base with an ID gets a free ticket. So we're in the works for that. That will be announced, and we love these mini events.
Can people rent the rink maybe in the off hours of the general time? Can they make special arrangements to actually rent out the rink?
Absolutely. And all of that information is on our website. So we have the ice rink rental available. We have the North Pole Lounge, which is the Bastille patio for larger groups, so a company, family, large family, that type of thing. We have 2 new, what I call garden domes, and they're for smaller groups, 6 to 8 people in a bubble that will be lit. So they'll look kind of like some big Christmas bulbs out by the deck, and that will be available for smaller groups. And again, everything is on the website to reserve those spaces.
That's great. So let's talk about Saturday night's opening night, and you have Christmas tree lighting. What's that about?
Christmas tree lighting is really, for us, the kickoff of the season. It is on our opening day, as you mentioned, 2 p.m. We open. At 6 p.m., we begin the tree lighting ceremony. So basically what that is, we're on the steps of the Civic, and we're actually going to light the official Christmas tree. We have a 30-foot beautiful tree that we light up. So we have a brief invocation. We're going to introduce some new friends of Winter Wonderland that you're just going to have to come and meet, but I think you'll enjoy it. And then our mayor, Travis Payton, will count down, light the tree, and then we have a few special effects following that. So we think it's going to be a great day of music and a few surprises.
Wouldn't it be great if one of those surprises was another fire truck to take people around and look at Christmas lights, yeah?
Oh, man. We sold out of Tour of Lights in about a 24-hour period. That's 87 tours. And you're absolutely right. I've been trying to figure out how we could get another vintage fire truck. But again, that's Hanford. And, that just speaks to traditions and getting out in the community and seeing how all our community embraces the holidays.
And there's a lot of other special events going on. We've got concerts at the Fox Theater. Schools are performing concerts. Groups stop by the evening in Wine and Chocolate. The Brass Carolers tour around the Civic Park. So Hanford definitely loves its Christmas time. And so that's a good segue to the Hanford Christmas Parade, which is coming up on the 28th. And we talked about it in an episode about 2 weeks ago, but the committee has recently met and added some new things and maybe relaxed some of the requirements. Can you update us on the status of the Christmas Parade?
Yeah, absolutely. We have entries coming in constantly now. We can still use a few more. So if you're interested in getting your group in the parade, please call 559-585-2525. We've relaxed some of our requirements for insurance and things, and we just want the community to be represented very well in the parade, as it has in years past.
So the new deadline is Friday, November 21st. And you can go to the Hanford Christmas Parade website on the city website. And actually, I found out the easiest way to get to it is just to Google Hanford Christmas Parade 2025, and it comes right up. But the application is available online. You can also print one out and turn it in at the city offices. So, Brad, we've added some new features to the parade this year. Let's go through those. Let's talk about the route and some of the features along the route.
So the route this year, we actually returned back a few years for an extended parade route. So technically, the parade will start on Harris and 7th. It will proceed west down 7th. It will take a right-hand turn on Reddington, go down to the block and take a right on 8th, come down to Doughty and take a left, where the judging will take place across from Superior Dairy. The parade actually extends 2 blocks past that location and empties out a little bit north on Doughty.
So we have not one announcer stand. We don't have 2 announcer stands. We have 3 announcer stands, and I'm going to be actually hosting an announcer stand at where usually the parade would make a turn there on Irwin Street. And I'm hoping no one puts their chairs out on Irwin Street because they're going to be awfully disappointed when the parade doesn't come down that way. So the Hanford Insider, myself, I'll be hosting a announcer stand that are Irwin and 7th. But we have some, with the new route, we have a new thing happening at the corner of 8th and Reddington, including an additional announcer stand. So what's the deal about that, Brad?
So the emphasis of that one will be a Spanish-speaking announcer for folks that would feel more comfortable there. And we're also setting up a plaza with food vendors in an adjacent parking lot. And so we're going to really work with La Buena Radio and Univision. They have promised some of their celebrity DJs and anchors that will be announcing there. And it's something new, something we're very, very excited about. So that will take place basically on the corner of 8th and Reddington. And then we'll have our last announcer over in Civic Park, over by the ending of the parade across from Superior Dairy. So, 3 different places spread out throughout the route. And just to give the general public who comes, knowing who the groups are, maybe a little background about that. And it just provides, that background for the parade.
So one of the questions that came up at the committee meeting, we were talking about food vendors. We're going to have these different food vendors placed throughout the route, but we're also just maybe gaining a little bit more control over these people that are selling items on the street, food items, carnival items, horns, glow-up sticks. What can you tell us about that? And then we know what's probably going to happen, but what direction do you see that heading?
Yeah, so thus far, we've been very fortunate. Some of those vendors, as you mentioned, that come out with their carts selling neon and different food items, they've actually reached out to us, and we love that. So we have, somewhat can make sure that they've got all the proper licensing and things like that. So we're pleased about that. They will be present in the parade. They are every year. And so really, they'll be walking up and down the parade route. And, public safety is always going to be our number one goal. And this year, we're very happy that in partnership with our police department, we'll have 9 uniformed officers on the parade route at various sites, keeping an eye on things. We will have food trucks literally blocking streets. Many of the street closures will have a barricade and a food truck. So kind of a double barrier because, again, safety is key. And we're just asking folks that come out to the parade to be respectful of others, to try not to run in front of the entries. The parade doesn't go, 2 or 3 miles an hour, but we just want everybody to have a great time.
Well, definitely. We can certainly thank the leaders, the Hanford City Council, for trusting the Parks and Community Services Department to put on this event, because frankly, if that hadn't happened, Hanford would not be having a Christmas parade this year. So we're very lucky to have it. And I, having participated in as many parades as I have, I'm very comforted in knowing that the city is taking it seriously, making it a safe event, and putting a lot of fun into it. So, Brad, I just want to thank you for joining me again. And let's go out there and have a great time at the Hanford Winter Wonderland. Hopefully it doesn't rain or terrible weather, and especially on the day of the parade. So thank you so much, Brad.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you having me on.
I always enjoy my conversations with Brad, and you can really feel his excitement to put on these events for the community. It's been fun working with him to help get the word out about the Winter Wonderland and the Christmas parade. To help get the word out, I'm holding a special contest. For everyone who shares this episode's Facebook post, I'll enter you in a drawing for a prize package including 4 VIP reserved bleacher seats for the Christmas parade, 4 Winter Wonderland skating passes, and a Superior Dairy gift card. All you have to do is share this episode's Facebook post and comment Merry Hanford. For my listeners who aren't on Facebook, you can enter by sending me an email to hanfordinsider@gmail.com with the words Merry Hanford in the subject header. I'll randomly select one lucky winner and announce it on next week's show, as well as post it on my social media channels. Good luck! Now let's check in with Eric for some high school sports news.
And now it's time for Hanford Insider Sports with Eric Bentley.
We'll start with girls water polo, where 1 seed Sierra Pacific hoisted the D3 section title trophy at their home pool last week. In the semis, Avery Sylvester scored 5 of the 9 Sierra Pacific goals as the Golden Bears took down 4-seed Lemoore 9-6 to advance to the finals. And in those finals against 2-seed Centennial, it was all Sierra Pacific who led 11-4 in the fourth before some non-consequential late goals resulted in a 13-8 final score and a section championship for the Golden Bears. Zoe De La Torre continues to lead the defensive charge from the cage for Sierra Pacific, and the Golden Bears will need to rely on that defense for the state playoffs as it's a tough draw. Sierra Pacific, the D3 section champs, get a 7 seed and will take on 2-seed D2 section champs Garces. That game will take place Tuesday in Bakersfield. The Sierra Pacific boys water polo season came to an end on Wednesday in the section playoffs as the offense couldn't capitalize on their opportunities, falling to Bakersfield 11-6 in the D3 semifinals. The Golden Bears finished their 2025 season with a 20-10 overall record and a 4-4 mark in Tri-County League play. In football, Hanford High fell to Liberty Bakersfield 35-14 in the semifinals of the D1A section playoffs last Friday. The Liberty offense set the tone early, scoring 21 points in the first quarter, while the Bullpups only got a rushing touchdown from Tavion Patterson to trail 21-7 after the first. The two teams would trade touchdowns in the second quarter, with Jaron Mao's 11-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Williams cutting the Bullpup deficit back to 14 at the half. The Hanford High defense would lock in coming out of the half, pitching a shutout in the third quarter and only allowing one fourth-quarter touchdown, but the Bullpup offense couldn't muster up any points of their own, falling 35-14. The Bullpups finish off another successful season with a 7-4 overall record, going back-to-back-to-back as WIL champs. And with fall sports all wrapped up, basketball season is upon us. Teams get into the action this week, and we'll have scores for you on next week's show. As always, we'd like to cover as many sports as we can, but we can only do so much without you. Any sport, any team, any level, if you have a score report or a team update, please let us know at hanfordinsider@gmail.com. I'm Eric Bentley, and this has been your Hanford Insider Sports Report.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show. If you enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to show your support, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Hanford Insider to make a donation. If you'd like to join the Hanford Insider email list, stop by my website at hanfordinsider.com to sign up for updates. You'll also get an exclusive copy of my newsletter in your inbox each week. I also need your help getting the word out about the show by liking and sharing on social media, or like most people, just telling a friend. For more information about the show, you can find this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and YouTube at Hanford Insider. If you have a show idea, be sure to email me at hanfordinsider@gmail.com and I'll look into it. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.